welcome to Issued for Construction. Today I've got with me a woman who has run a successful business for the last number of years. I met her at a holiday party with Lutron, and we got to chatting, and I said to her, I was like, I've got this podcast that, I should have you on. But first, let's meet. And you brought me Natasha. Maybe I'll just say who you are. Okay. I've got with me Natasha Popek-Konieczko from Common Good Studio.
Nice to be here. Thanks, Jonathan.
And I had to do that 3 times to get it right. You guys didn't hear the mistakes the first 2.
I was waiting for the 4th mistake, which is why I paused. I'm ready.
Mom, I did it! Before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you about Kaplan's appliances. Because later in our conversation, Natasha and I joke about the culinary journey of growing up. Going from eating late night poutine to falling in love with a beautiful, slow simmered bowl of Vietnamese pho. And honestly, that evolution perfectly sums up the modern family kitchen. Let's be real. With both parents working nowadays, kids' schedules, and everyday hustle of living in Toronto, getting a home-cooked dinner on the table can feel like an Olympic sport. That's where having the right setup makes all the difference. Kaplan's understands the demands of your busy lifestyle. Imagine leaving the office or the job site and using an app on your phone to preheat your smart oven so it's ready the second you walk through the door, or using the lightning-fast technology of an induction cooktop to boil water in record time. Whether you're rushing to make a quick Tuesday night craft dinner or taking the time to make that Sunday night pho, Kaplan's has the technology to fit how you actually live. They partner with the absolute best in the business. Top-tier brands like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Genair, Fisher & Paykel, Miele, La Cornue, and more. But performance is only half the story. Design is just as crucial. Whether you want panel-ready appliances that seamlessly disappear into your custom millwork, the sleek look of classic stainless steel, or a bold pop of color to make a statement, Kaplan's has the aesthetic to match your vision. But above all else, the reason I talk about Kaplan's is their service. They have an incredibly dedicated team that acts as your partner. They understand the exact measurements, the specification, and the installation requirements and delivery timelines. Service is what drives their business and what keeps customers like you, the homeowner, the architect, the designer, the builder, coming back generation after generation. In fact, Kaplan's is a multi-generational family business themselves. There's a very good chance that your grandparents bought their appliances from the current owner's grandparents. That is the beauty of working with a true Toronto staple. They aren't going anywhere. They are here to support you, your family, and the memories you'll make in the heart of your home. When you're ready to upgrade or you're looking at putting something new into your reno or your new build, trust the experts. You can visit their website by going to the liner notes or email me directly and I'll set up an introduction. My email address is Jonathan, that's Jonathan, @issuedforconstruction.ca. So one of the coolest things that I've had happen so far in like introductions to people, Natasha suggested that we go and we meet at a place on Dupont. Is it 315?
915.
915.
Dupont.
915 Dupont. And for anyone in Toronto that doesn't know 915 Dupont, like what a cool way to meet someone. Yeah. It's like a coffee house during the day and they serve food. And then at night they have DJ sets and all the different kinds of themes.
Yeah, lots of great events. You walk in and they have their kind of disco ball playing in the afternoon, and you sort of come through like a commercial corridor, not knowing what to expect, and you walk through this curtain, and all of a sudden it feels like you're almost on the other side of the world, which is
and they have tons of different types of whiskey in there.
Lots of different whiskey. Yeah, a little bit of something for everyone. Great matcha.
Yeah. So. So we sat down and we had a beautiful chat talking about business and all things associated with what it is to run an operation, sales and marketing, all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, we should just have you on this podcast. So one, thanks for enduring that long-winded intro.
Well, thank you for meeting me for coffee. I've actually kind of made it a bit of an initiative for myself to take time each week and have a chat with someone new. But also thank you for the invite to the pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Total pleasure to be here.
So I want to start it off as I do with everyone else. I want to know what kind of kid you were. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? What was family dynamic like? And what kind of kid were you?
Yeah. So I am the oldest of three, and I grew up in Ontario. I was born in Newmarket, and my dad and my mom had met in Tottenham. My dad had built his very first house there.
Okay.
And so that was our first stomping grounds. I would say my childhood was like very imaginative, like really creative. I think having sisters, we didn't really have a TV. Like we had a TV, but we didn't have cable. And so, whenever there was, kind of outside of school time, once we're done for the day, it was like, go and play, go out and play. And, that would be us, putting on our snowsuits in the middle of winter and going out and building a giant snow fort. That would be going down to the basement and finding, cardboard and creating cutouts and building forts under the stairs. But it was just a lot of like free play. My parents gave us a lot of room to explore, create, kind of like almost like free range kids. We had to be at the dinner table, but not too much else around that. I think
can find them in the dairy section.
Yeah, we run wild. Coming to your neighborhood soon. Which we really did.
Grass fed.
We really did. We had a group of friends that also, we all had our bikes and we just would kick around and jump from house to house and hang out. And it was just a lot of creating. We created our own days, our own agendas, our own weird little projects, and we would support one another with our little whims. I had a girlfriend who decided that she wanted to it's gonna sound really silly, but melt and make these candy pops. And so I remember us spending 2 weeks figuring out how to perfectly form them and wrap them in paper. And then we're now we have a business and we're gonna sell them. I don't know. We were probably 10. I don't know, maybe 8, 9. Yeah.
I love it. My daughter with her closest friend just put together. They put together flyers for a dog walking business, and so they hand wrote it. They put it out there, and her friend's dad took them over to Staples and got copies made, and they canvassed the area.
Yeah.
And they got a client, and then when I showed up to the house and they asked the woman, the dog,
flyer.
The dog wouldn't go with them. And the woman's like, don't worry, it's not your fault here. Yeah. And she made money for doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
God bless the entrepreneurial spirit.
I know, I didn't know it at the time, but over the last 5 years, I've really had that opportunity to reflect on how I got here, and realize that it was such a spark that was happening at such a young age. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of just our family culture. That's really how we operated as individuals and as a family.
And what did your mom do?
So my mom's a dental hygienist. Okay. But she decided to kind of run it in an entrepreneur style where she would do fill-ins and temp work. And so as a family, we were ideating with her, how she could find work and what that could be. I remember us sitting there on it was Microsoft Publisher, maybe creating flyers, same thing, just being able to as a family rally together and figure out how to kind of bring this idea to life. Mm-hmm. And then my dad had started his own business back when I was born. So it's about to hit 42 years old.
Oh, your dad's young.
Yeah. He was just a baby business owner.
And was it building homes, or what did he do?
No, so he's kind of like a Renaissance man. He can kind of do anything. He can kind of figure anything out. So when he had decided, he got a piece of land from his mom, so from my baba, and I'm not sure how he got into the plan part of it. He probably planned it himself. But then he did as much work as he could, and then brought in folks when he needed a hand with areas that he couldn't do, like pouring, the foundation. Yeah. And he was an electrician by trade. So that was, he went to school at George Brown, and he had worked in machinery design and build. And so he started a business that's based on that.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when you were in school, what were your interests in school? What did you like? Science? Did you like math? Home economics, English, writer's craft, gym?
I went to like really academic kind of math and science based schools.
Okay.
So
Was that to hone in on what you were already good at, or was that to establish what you would be good at?
I think it was to establish and give room and equal opportunity to all disciplines. So
Okay.
it really was, as much as it was really strong in terms of like the math and science, there was also a really like robust arts program with great resources. There was, like we would put on a big play every year. So you had access to like theater and music and drama.
Right.
So it really gave you room to explore and figure out what you were connecting with. But then I think also sort of fundamentally said, you've also got really strong basics. So if you kind of get to that next chapter and decide you're not, leaning in one direction anymore, you've got options. I think that's really what they were setting us up for success.
Okay. And do your siblings go there as well?
Yeah, me and my sisters all went through. It changed a little bit with my youngest sister. She had a little bit of like I don't know, like a little bit of like rebel, young rebel. So, we navigated that as a family, but yeah, it was
I can associate with that.
Yeah.
I am the youngest.
You're the youngest.
I am actually a full-on accident.
We might have joked about that with Charla. I'm sure she would hold it over us still to this day. But
Charla, don't worry. I associate with this. Okay? You're not alone.
Yeah. So it was, school was really interesting. I think like I couldn't quite find my place. I think what I wanted to do or what I was like maybe good at in a way that other folks might find that out really soon. And then my parents were also like, because we were sort of had so much freedom, I think, in terms of how we managed ourselves, we're also like, you'll figure it out, like it'll come together. They weren't heavy handed in sort of saying, well, focus on this and then it'll sort of work itself out that way. It was more allowing us to explore, fail, succeed, and really blaze our own trail.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as you moved through that school, what year did that, or what grade did that school complete? Was it grade 8 or grade 9, or did it go through into high school?
Grade 8, and then it basically was like a graduate program into high school. So it was pretty similar song the whole way from early grade 1 to grade 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you have OAC or not?
There was OAC at the time, but I did high school in 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, by design. Yeah.
I figured.
Although I have a late birthday, so when I started university, I was 17.
Right.
Which is like a young pup, really. Yeah.
And what did you study in university?
So I first off knew that I really needed to like get out of the GTA. I had lived in Mississauga for most of my like childhood.
Yeah.
Things in my house were just feeling like, I think I knew I was going to have to live at home if I went to school, just like financially. So I think for me, I was like, okay, how do I like hack this? Like, how do I, I don't want to live at home while I'm in school. What are my options? And in grade 11, one of our teachers had planned a trip, like an optional trip for students to go to Montreal. And we had a full bus go. So there was like 40 of us.
Yeah.
And it was like love at first sight. I had never been before. It was spring, so like May. And if you've ever been to Montreal in spring, it's like, I'm like in goosebumps thinking about it. It is so electric. Like it is as electric when I was 15 as it is now. I try and go as much as possible. It's like, it's so beautiful. There's so much happening. People are just like, there's just such a joyfulness. And I was hooked. I was just like completely hooked. So when it was time to like apply for universities, it wasn't a program that I had in mind that I wanted to do. It was a school. And I had applied to 6 schools in Ontario. Yeah. I got into all of them, all great offers. And I had toured a couple of them and I was like, yeah, okay, like I could go to Waterloo or like I could go to U of T. And the last envelope I received, because it was snail mail then, was from McGill. And it was like an immediate yes. I remember the moment so well. It was actually while I was at school that day, my mom had brought my mail
To school
to give it to me. And I was with my boyfriend at the time. And I got the package and I opened it and I was just like jumping up and down. Like I was so excited. And then he turned to me and he said, "You applied to school in Montreal?" And I immediately was like, oh,
you.
Right.
Forgot about you. I was thinking about me.
You're great. Which he actually was. We dated on like while I was in McGill, but yeah, I just felt so strongly about like that was just the place I needed to be next.
Right. Mm-hmm. Before we dive into what Natasha studied in Montreal, I want to take a quick second to talk to you about the Doors. Later in this episode, Natasha and I are going to get into her studio's incredible work transforming a rundown motel in Southampton, as well as her diverse mix of commercial storefronts and private residential builds. When you're tackling projects with that kind of range, you need a supplier that can pivot and adapt to the specific needs of every single site. That is exactly what you get with the Doors. Whether you're outfitting a commercial space or a custom home, they have the inventory and expertise to match. If a project requires PVC or fiberglass, they have it. If you're looking for European tilt and turn windows, they can do that too. And they do that very well. I know because I have them in my own house. But their absolute mainstay is their low profile, high quality, high value aluminum products. We're talking pure aluminum wood clad, and total custom colors. They even offer those highly sought after, very thin profile steel windows. And when it comes to those beautiful expansive panes of glass that perfectly frame a view, they have you covered with single, double, and triple pane options. But beyond the products, what I really love about the Doors is the people. I talk to Martin fairly regularly, and he runs the business with his wife, Marta. Because it's a single family owned business, they have a deeply vested interest in the quality of their brand and how they treat their clients. They don't just sell you a window or a door. They care about how the quote is provided, how they support you through the tight construction schedules, their impact on the job site during installation, and their post-service care. They know how critical it is to respond directly to the needs of architects, designers, builders, and homeowners alike. If you want to work with a company that truly understands the impact of high-quality glass and reliable partnerships, they are fantastic. You can learn more by checking out their website in the liner notes, or you can email me directly. It's Jonathan, that's Jonathan, at issuedforconstruction.ca, and I'll happily connect you. All right, let's get back to the conversation. And what did you study in school?
So I really had no idea, but I went into a generalist arts program and sort of figured year one, we'll figure it out as we go. And so I took a bunch of courses. I took economics, I took a poly, I took a psych, but I took an anthropology course. I had no idea what anthropology was. And
it's a store. It's a store.
Yeah. I love a big pattern.
Although are they still a store? I don't know if they're still a store.
I guess not in Canada anymore.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. That was a terrible joke.
Well, they were on Queen Street, which I actually really loved. But yeah, they're gone. So I took a survey anthro course and read 4 ethnographies, and I was totally taken. I was totally taken with it. I didn't do a ton of traveling when I was younger, but my parents had a subscription to National Geographic, and every month they would show up wrapped in this piece of brown paper with our address, and I would just count the days. So I'd open it up and I would just pour over it. I just loved it. I loved the photography. I loved the stories. I would revisit issues, and I feel like once I kind of found out about anthropology and I started to read through those ethnographies, it just refired this kind of love and interest and curiosity for how people live and how people spend their time, and our culture versus other cultures. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to do a double major in anthropology and art history. Crazy. So that, yeah.
What I didn't ask you before, and I wanted to ask you about your time while you were in junior high school and high school, even while you were in university at McGill. were you working at the same time? Do you ever have part-time jobs? Like, what did those look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Besides my like hobby businesses with friends, we used to collect golf balls near one of the golf courses, and we'd like wash them up and like resell them in like egg cartons to golfers.
Yeah.
Um,
How much would a carton go for?
Oh, that was how much? I don't know, like $5.
Okay.
$5. And we had made little golf counters that people could put on their bags. It was like a whole little multi-product business.
Yep. Okay, so that's where product design started.
Yeah. But I babysat. I like did the St. John's babysitting course.
Yeah.
My mom really was like, you need to like get working like right away. Like you've got time. It's important.
Do you remember how much you charged for babysitting?
Well, I would say like $5 an hour, $6 an hour was probably where I topped out.
Right.
And I had a regular, so I would go to school, come home on the bus, catch the city bus, and then I would babysit regularly on Mondays, and then I would pick up different one-offs here and there. And then when I turned 15, so I was in high school, my mom was like, you need to get a summer job. And none of my friends had summer jobs. And she had circled an ad in the paper and given it to me. And it was for like a sort of a pseudo lifeguarding job. And I had like been a big swimmer. I like swam team during high school. So like the water was very much my my happy place. And I was like, okay. So I called up and they're like, oh, you're not old enough to actually lifeguard, but you can clean the pools.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Can't wait to pull.
That's my Baywatch dream come to life.
Oh my God. It's brutal.
So I spent the summer in Meadowvale. There's like a bunch of like basically condo outdoor pools that open in the summer season.
Yeah.
And so I would on my bike, my forever mode of transportation, would go building to building and clean the pools, open them in the morning, check in on them, close them out at night.
But you weren't doing like you weren't addressing the chemicals inside the pool.
Yeah, chemicals. You were doing all the backwash, the whole bit.
You were doing it all.
I never even met my boss. He was just a guy on a phone that I would call in the morning and be like, I'm starting the day. Okay, great. Talk to you later. Who was I calling? I don't know. So I did that for like my first summer. And then once I hit 16, I started to like full lifeguard and teach some lessons. So that carried me all the way through high school, university.
And so you taught swimming when you're in Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal. I
found a pool?
Yeah, because basically like my mom said she would help me with my tuition, but that was it. So I had to figure out how to make it up. Books, rent, luckily food. Yeah. Montreal is like a really economical place to be a young person.
Or was at the time.
Yeah, it still is. It's crazy. It's not, it's not the same. Like we split our first apartment, 3 bedrooms. It was $850 a month. And we split it based on the room size. So I had the middle-sized room, and I remember I was paying $280 a month to live.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so I think I was clearing like a G lifeguarding and teaching swimming lessons. So I would do that in the evenings, pick up shifts. Saturday mornings, I would teach swimming lessons for 4 or 5 hours.
Not eating pho.
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
We'll come there later in the story, everyone.
Yeah. Maybe some late night poutine into, Saturday morning.
Yep.
But yeah, it was like the way I was able to finish school and to get through school.
Incredible.
And then I loved it. I love, being able to see kids grow in a skill set and, something that's really like important. Like it's a really like important part of growing up is learning to swim, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think
it didn't feel like work.
Well, also, I talk about this with a lot of different people as I go through these interviews, and the social interactions you learn from a professional standpoint and also from a personal standpoint on how to manage challenges, how to engage with an employer, to let them know that you're starting your route. Just general business acumen that you gain from starting all of that at a young age is really, really important to be successful as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And like discipline, like a lot of my friends in university weren't working. And so Saturday mornings for them was being able to sleep in and go to brunch at like 11 and then hang out in the park or, go whatever it is. And I taught from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. and then usually some lifeguarding after that. So
I coach tennis.
ah.
I think I've talked about this before on here, but I coach tennis from grade 10 through high school, through university, and then into professionally afterwards.
Yeah, yes.
I remember, I had friends that would, on Saturday mornings, they would be going for breakfast after being, having had a big night. And I was on my way to go coach the kids program at 9 a.m. or whatever it was, or go fill in with doubles because that was when my shift started, or 8 a.m. I remember dating a girl at Guelph University, and we were all out the night before, and I had to leave at 7 a.m. to get to the club for 8, and I remember hammering on the 401. I brought all my clothes with me, and I was shaking. I was like, this is so unsafe.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'm sure there was some mornings here there where parents were like,
is he okay? He hasn't checked in.
Is she?
So you had this ambition through all of your life of running different types of businesses and looking after yourself. Which is nice. Okay. So at what stage of then McGill or beyond did you decide that you were going to change what you were studying? Because anthropology is not interior design.
Anthropology is not interior design, but I'll probably come back to this point later on. It has the strangest ripple effect in my practice now. But I graduated and was back to not knowing what to do. Am I going to go work in a museum or a gallery? Am I going to do more school?
Yeah.
And I think for me, I needed a break from school.
Yeah.
I was ready to kind of pause. And, but I wasn't ready to leave Montreal. So I stayed an extra year. My best friend was also still there.
Yeah.
So we had kind of a fun 5+ year. And then I came home and I still really...
Oh, so you made up for OAC.
Yeah. So I netted. That was a much better spent OAC year.
For sure.
Yeah. And because my French was good, but it wasn't good enough to really take me to a growth in career. And also the sort of interesting thing with McGill specifically is that it's mostly folks who come into Montreal to go to school versus people who live in the area and go to school. So
they got a lot of American students.
Lots of Americans.
Yeah.
Lots of, from all over. Yeah. All over. So everyone's gone. So you're kind of almost back to being year one where you know almost no one. It was a interesting transition. So I came home and I really couldn't quite figure it out. I really just didn't have the leads to be able to kind of land something consistent. I worked a lot of really odd jobs trying to pull it together.
Yeah, like what?
Maybe I nannied for a little bit.
Okay.
I did sales at Good Life Fitness for a number of years, which also, funny enough, is a skill set I use now.
You get the bag.
Yeah,
and get the bag.
I learned what it was to script sell, what it was like to approach complete strangers and strike up a conversation and build trust and rapport. And then where was I? So me and my best friend, we had been talking for a long time about taking a big trip.
What's her name?
Steph.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph. And so I also was working, I was still lifeguarding. I ended up working co-check at 7 nightclub, which was also really fun and wonderful. I did lots of things.
Where was 7 nightclub?
So it's on Richmond, where Yuck Yucks is. It's the complex above.
Is it multiple levels?
It's multiple levels. It was based on the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I definitely saw you.
If you are of our vintage, I might have checked your jacket. I might have checked your leather denier jacket.
I have leather denier jackets.
I know my
clientele. That's hilarious.
I know my niche.
Yeah.
And we basically made a pact to take a year off and go travel.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So where was? Who planned the trip? Was it collective or was it one of you?
We decided we actually did a canoe trip.
Okay.
We were in upstate New York. We were on like a 5-day canoe trip, and we were both, she also we were in the same spot. Like we kind of knew what we were interested in, but we couldn't really figure out like what that looked like in a career. And we both we all had spent years talking about traveling. And so we decided we'd go to South America for a year.
Wow.
And we kind of like sat in the canoe and like locked eyes, and then we're like, "Are you in this? Yeah, I'm in this. Are you in this?"
How long have you known each other?
I guess at that point it was sort of like 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, a good chunk.
Yeah.
And we did it. So we saved up and we flew down to Brazil for Carnival, into Rio as our first stop.
So hell of a start.
In February. Yeah. Almost like this time of year. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was the first time I had planned a long trip. It was the first time I'd ever left North America. It was the first time I had I had a friend to travel with, but like really was just sort of autonomous. I mean, because I've always sort of had a little bit of that, but like, my parents hadn't shared this travel piece with me before.
Yeah.
And at the time, and actually still to this day, if you tell anyone you're going to Brazil, the first thing they'll say is, "That's so dangerous. Like, that's so dangerous. You can't, you shouldn't be going. Something's going to happen. What if something happens?"
What year was it that you went there?
So it was 2007.
2007. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, Facebook had just kind of come out.
Yeah.
We were living in Hotmail, and no cell phones.
Yep.
I had an iPod,
Yep.
And I had a Lonely Planet. And that's how we got around the entire continent.
As you're saying this, I picked up my phone and I was just looking to see like when this movie came out. So there was a film that came out in 2007. I was almost certain that it was called Elite Squad.
I don't think I've seen it.
Same director as Children of Men.
Okay, yeah, I had to read that book in high school. I don't.
Children of Men or Children of God? Oh, I'm ruining it right now. But the movie was, to your point about being dangerous, the movie was based on a true story of when the Pope was going to visit the slums in Brazil.
Oh, the favelas.
And in an effort to ensure that he would be safe, they brought together the most elite squad of international
security.
I mean, what you'd call them, like guys from the SAS, guys from Navy SEALs, the top forces of the IDF and all over the world.
Oh, wild.
And they went through to essentially clean up the slums and take out all the corruption to avoid the potential risk of having the Pope either killed or taken hostage.
Yeah.
Crazy movie. Around the same time of what you're talking about. So
maybe that's part of the.
I apologize. I digressed yet again.
No.
Fantastic film. Very graphic. Don't watch it if you're not like ready for something that is very real.
Yeah, I sort of have, as like an avid traveler, I definitely like kind of stay away from like some genres because I'm like, it's a little too. Be a little close to home, but
sorry, stepping away from the film and back into your travel experience at Carnival. So you go from Carnival, then where did you end up next?
So we had only planned to be in Brazil for a week because it was so dangerous. And what you find out when you travel, especially when you travel to places where everyone else tells you it's dangerous, though they've never been, is that it is, the most beautiful, lovely people, absolutely gorgeous, easy to get around. We really had no problems. Mm-hmm. So we stayed for 6 weeks.
In Brazil?
Yeah.
You changed all your plans?
We kind of had no plans.
Okay.
That's kind of the beauty of like a slow trip. It gives you so much room to just move with your whims and how you're feeling and what's interesting and maybe what's happening. It doesn't have to be so planned. We really had only booked one hostel in Rio for Carnival, and then we figured we'd just take it from there.
I mean, that's also a credit to the two of you. I mean, for you and Steph to be on the same page about how you're going to play this out is an important thing because you can travel with someone, they can be completely different than what you thought.
Oh yeah, 100%. We actually went down with a group of girls, and I think like once they had only come down for the Carnival piece, and they had taken off. We were like, okay, well, that was interesting. Like,
Bye.
off we go. Yeah, see ya. Yeah, it's a very special friendship. One that, it's like 1 in a million, like, especially for travel. It's like the biggest test on any, relationship, romantic, family, friends.
Yep.
It can be very uncomfortable. I think her and I are both very good at being uncomfortable. So.
Okay.
Yeah. We basically circumnavigated. So we started in Rio. We went through to Argentina, all the way down south, came back up, zigzagging through Chile, went up into Peru, Ecuador, and then we actually connected up into Central America after that.
Okay. Random question. What was the single biggest challenge that you experienced in traveling in any of those countries? Was it a bus that had a flat tire? Was it trying to find shelter for the night and not being able to communicate that?
I was not expected to tell this story, but I had my passport stolen by a taxi cab driver.
Okay.
And it was this whole ruse. The border between Peru and Ecuador. Yeah. Okay. So there was a huge transit strike in Peru, and it was really hard to get around. That's basically how we were getting around. And we had booked a flight out of Lima to go into Ecuador, I think it was.
Yeah.
No, sorry. We had booked a flight out of Ecuador to go up to Central America. So we had to get through Peru into Ecuador.
Yeah.
And basically, like, we did all the things you're not supposed to do. We were walking on highways because they were, there was tire fires that were, inhibiting roadblocks. Yeah. We hitchhike, like, we were sleeping out on the streets at bus shelters because we were waiting for the mystical bus to show up. Eventually we kind of combed our way up north. We got into a cab who said he would drive us across the border and get us all safely to the other side. And it was, just a little bit of like classic, you kind of turn away for a second and things happen quickly. But we'd stamped out of Peru, and then you have to drive over into Ecuador to stamp in. While we were waiting in the cab, he recommended, the driver, that we exchange some cash. So I had left my passport and my backpack on the back seat, had taken some money over to exchange it with this folk. Came back, didn't think anything of it. We go to the next checkpoint, and sure enough, I realize I'm missing my passport within that like 25 minutes. And it becomes this sort of, at first it was sort of like I was like, oh, this is my fault. Like, maybe I left it. And he's like, yeah, you must have left it. We'll go back. And he's playing along with us and he's feeding us. And then all of a sudden he's like, I've got a friend. I can call a friend and like, let's see if we can find your passport. And then you start to like catch on and go, oh, we're in a scam. Okay. And so now we're in like the middle of a market, and he's like, okay, my friend's around here and we'll be able to get it back from you. And then I realized, I was like, you have it. You have my passport. And so finally I just turned to him. I was like, I want my passport back. What do you want? And he's like, no, it's not me. It's not me. And I was, and I'm like I'm almost like my blood is boiling now because you just realize it. But you're so vulnerable, right? You can't really. And I just, bottom line, I just need the passport back, whatever it's going to take. So good practice. Always have some American cash on you, euros, maybe now. And I basically said to him, like how much? Like, how much do you want? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And I think I just put out a number. I was like, $200. And he was like, $250. And I was like, okay, fine. So I handed over $250 to him. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out my passport. And then he looks at us and goes, okay, so I drive you to the checkpoint. Like, I take you and you can, and I'm just like,
yeah. Now we're friends, buddy. Yeah, no problem. Sure. Are you buying dinner?
Is it like, well, yeah. So I think that continues to be one of the most like insane stories from the trip.
That's crazy though, that you were able to like pick up on it and get it back in the same time. Like, you don't know if you were being watched in that market by a bunch of other people. For sure. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he even let me talk to the police. He was like, yeah, sure, go talk to the police. And he was like, what, and it was, it was really interesting, and I think the fact that like being able to at least stay calm on the outside, try to think quickly,
plan on
quickly,
the inside,
strategically, recognize like what, kind of evaluate the risks here, like what's going to happen, what could happen. And then sort of, what do I need to have happen? It's like, I need my passport back. Right. I mean, it's all solvable otherwise. Like, there's lots of avenues, of course, but what can I do in this moment? Yeah. Yes.
Getting a new passport in a third world country is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Or I should say maybe developing country.
And like we were really like kind of out on the outskirts at that point. So.
Yeah.
And as like budget travelers, we were like, we cannot miss our $500 flight. We will be ruined. That's like half a month of spending money.
Yeah.
So it's like also just like that kind of shoestring mentality.
So what did you eat for dinner that night?
Oh gosh, where did we go for dinner that night? Once we got across,
Random
I don't know.
question.
I think we probably just passed out, honestly. Like it was like a sequence of, there's a couple of days before that, it generally was just a very challenging sort of week. So we probably just fell asleep and tried to.
I don't want to tell more. Mom, Dad, don't worry. Listen.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Having such a good time. Learning so much.
Collect call from. You won't believe this.
That's the call you definitely don't want to make to your parents. Yeah. Yeah. They're already so nervous about you being down there for, so long. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. So then you complete this incredible whirlwind of a trip, fact finding on who you are as a person and what you're capable of in really, really stressful situations. Because I mean, nothing you're dealing with now is quite like that.
No.
Right? Like.
No, I mean.
Your health and safety.
Depends what those parallels you want to draw.
Fair.
Yes.
Before we transition into Natasha's professional journey and her work in the design space, I want to talk to you about Aquanta Pools. In just a few minutes, we're going to get into Natasha's incredible portfolio of commercial and hospitality projects. From her daily work on the hyper-custom Templar Hotel to her studio's transformation of a boutique motel in Southampton. When you are designing for hospitality, whether that's a unique boutique hotel or a high-end condominium or a multi-residential rental building, the amenities you choose absolutely define the guest experience or the homeowner experience. That is where Aquanta comes in. Owned by a friend, Yuri, Aquanta specializes in a revolutionary concept called biodesign from Italy. Imagine replacing a standard rigid concrete box with a custom aquatic environment that literally looks and feels like a natural beach. Because of the way the proprietary layers of the natural quartz, sand, and resins work together, you can customize everything. You can have sweeping zero-entry beach slopes, different depths, built-in underwater seating, and a totally organic aesthetic that blends seamlessly into any landscape or commercial courtyard. It's a proprietary product utilized all over the world, and they pair it with top-tier water cleaning systems to ensure pristine conditions. But here's the massive benefit for commercial and hospitality owners. The durability is unmatched. If a property goes through a phase where the pool is untreated or left alone, even for a couple of years, you don't have to worry about mold or bacteria embedding into the surface. There is no structural bacteria growth. You simply wash it down and you are good to go. The kind of low maintenance reliability is a game changer for commercial applications. If you're looking to elevate your next condo, hotel, or custom residential project with a true resort-style oasis, you need to look at Biodesign by Aquanta Pools. You can find a link to Aquanta in the liner notes, or you can email me directly. It's Jonathan, that's Jonathan, @issuedforconstruction.ca, and I'll personally introduce you to Yuri. All right, let's get back to the episode and hear how Natasha's design career officially kicked off. So you come back from that, and what did it look like? What were you doing? Tell me about that.
So I ended up having a friend that worked in advertising, and they referred me in. So I actually ended up starting to work pretty quickly afterwards. So I worked on the strategy side with media buying, and just like learned the role. I didn't go to school. Everyone around me had studied like media planning.
Communications, yeah.
Kind of got the hang of it. I actually had one of the best managers I've ever had in my life while I was at OMD. Shout out to Beth. And then I had a big change in my life, and I realized like this is not what I want to be doing. It's never what I've wanted to do. I've actually known what I've wanted to do for a really long time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just never really felt like interior design was like a real job. I kind of always thought of it as like a TV thing. I don't know why. Like sometimes I have these slow connects. And I just decided in 2009 that I'm going to go back to school. So I went to Sheridan. I did a 3-year diploma.
Okay.
And have absolutely no regrets. It was the right choice. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what if I had done it the first round? What would that look like? But I'm not really a person to regret or second guess my decisions. You know, to me, like, it's all part of the journey. So that was my time. I was ready. I was super focused. It's a really demanding program, as anyone will tell you.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're also coming out of that at a different age than when you were in school, right? Now you're going into that as a mature student, understanding what you want to go and accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do out of school?
So kind of true to my character, I started working the first summer after my first year.
Mm-hmm.
I had been on OSAP for the first year, realized that I wasn't really allowed to work while you were receiving OSAP, and I was, funding the whole experience. So decided to close out OSAP, and I started working. And I landed a crazy job right that first summer. I found it on Craigslist.
Yeah.
And it was just like a very, very simple, like looking for help in a design studio, open to part-time, hourly, like really like nonchalant. And at that point I had, 1 year of school under my belt, which meant that I could create, I could hand draft and tell you about, color combos. And so,
in theory.
Yeah. I don't know what I did my first year. And so it was in this building right in the kind of like architectural design hub in Toronto. So Richmond, Spadina area. Yeah. Lots of greats there. Went up, interviewed with this lovely woman, and she offered me the job, like almost on the spot. She was like, okay, you seem great. And you live nearby? Okay, great. So when can you start? And I was like, tomorrow? Like, I'm ready. And it ended up being one of the like coolest jobs. So it was for this company called Red 22, which is not around anymore. But they were internally designing and developing a boutique hotel down the street on Adelaide called the Templar Hotel. 17 rooms. Del Terrelong was the owner, the principal. And the way his like mind work, it was like nothing I had experienced before in terms of like a creative process. It was so different from like the academic side of design in school. And I just sort of took every opportunity that came at us. And he was really interested in super hyper custom, kind of really kind of off the wall details, and had no idea how to execute them. And he would kind of give me this little loose sketch and say, figure it out. And I like, that's where I thrive. I'm like, great, I'll figure this out. No problem. Give me a day, give me a week. And so I would pick up the phone, and like, I remember there was a couple of really great details from it, but I think maybe one of the fun ones is, he had decided that in the main like lounge area on the floor, which was all Ipe, hardwood installed, that he wanted to do an inlaid tile pattern that was hair on hide leather in this custom sort of elongated diamond pattern, in this like custom sort of mock-up. So then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, we've got hardwood, we've got leather, which is a flexible, fabric-like material. Yeah. We've got real fur. We're navigating on the floor, and we have to, get this all custom cut out. And this was like kind of early CNC for us, maybe in Toronto. And I just got on the phone. I just started picking up the phone. I talked to leather guys. I talked to flooring guys. Wow. I finally figured it out. And what we ended up doing was we were able to mock up a portion of that floor, have it CNC'd. I think it was maybe Garrett Leather had supplied us with the leather. And then we had backed it onto a magnet. Because what we hadn't thought about, or as, kind of we were talking through it, was how do you clean this floor? Yeah. And so we ended up putting a very shallow, like thin piece of metal into the routed out floor. And then these magnetic hide tiles would pop into place. And voila, we had this kind of absolutely insane leather hide. inlay floor. And I could tell you like tons of these details. It was like ongoing. We had a floating pool over the stairs. We had every piece of hardware was custom. So it was really my like first experience in terms of like hyper customization and how to find the folks in our area who are interested and like willing to bring your crazy ideas to life.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, is a gift in itself to be able to go out there and get your feet on the ground and go find the right people that can go and accomplish something that is completely out there, right?
Yeah.
It's like such a fun joy. So
yeah.
So were the other people on the team as engaged in this type of process as much as you were?
It was sort of, the team kind of grew as I was there. So in the beginning, there was an architect who, like a practicing architect. Mm-hmm. We had a architect of record involved. The person who'd hire me was kind of also like a, kind of Jill of all trades.
Okay.
And that was kind of our starting team.
Okay.
And then they brought in another kind of design person, and then they started to fill out the hotel staff.
Yep.
We kind of didn't need anyone else, I guess, based on how that was coming together. So, yeah.
Did you stay there for long before you went out to find your own work, or was there something in between?
2.5 years.
Okay.
So they were really kind. They allowed me to work full time in the summer, and then I worked part time in the school year.
Yeah.
So I was able to take credits from my undergrad to move out of the electives.
Yeah.
And then I heavied up my school days. So I only had to go out to Oakville 2 to 3 times a week. And then I worked the other part of the week.
Okay.
Yeah. So got to the end, and there was some challenges like overall with, I think, the projects and the company. So I was ready to like learn from someone, like have someone kind of who had, as an interior designer, had worked and built a practice. So then I started to shop around for a new thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it then that you landed your own work, or would you go and work somewhere else in between?
No, I worked for 10 years in Toronto before I started the studio. I did a little moonlighting here and there, but all the studios I worked for were really demanding, long hours. And so, I mean, I think even just like coming out of school, it was just nice to have like weekends back and evenings back. So I just focused on studio life and contributing to those places.
And what were the projects like for the next 10 years?
Yeah, so I've kind of worked a little bit on everything except private residential. So 10 years all commercial based. I worked at Full Scale, which focused on quick service and H&M. So that was one of my like first jobs out of school.
Yep.
My principal dropped, 3-inch binders on my desk and was like, here's the H&M standards, learn them. So kind of getting my feet wet with like rollouts, working in large retail, Cadillac Fairview, how that all comes together, what that looks like. So it was great. It was, and that's where I learned how to like draft and draw and detail, like really detail, like to put it on paper as like documents. And then I worked for another small shop that also did kind of similar kind of rollout pieces, a couple one-offs. So we worked on Burgers Priest. We worked on Smokes Poutine, like when it was like really like hype and like kind of rolling out everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that was really fun.
I ate one of those in Newfoundland.
Smokes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was May or June last year.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2:00 in the morning.
That's about right. Yeah. That's its prime time. Yeah.
It's like, I love some fries right now.
That's when they want you to think about them. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And then I was at 2x4. So I was there for almost 4 years, 4 and change. And I got to work on multi-unit, high-rise condo projects.
Cool.
And I loved it. I loved the challenge of a big project. I loved the challenge of like a scale, the material, volume. And I started off at like the low rung and came in as like a sort of very junior, I guess a high level junior. and just started to like climb the ranks. So I think kind of like halfway 2-3 years in, I was running our projects out in San Francisco. So I got to travel out there like once a month, which was so great, so exciting.
This is a circular moment of San
Yeah,
Francisco
I
today.
know.
So
Right.
what nobody can understand right now is that Natasha is currently holding a mug that my wife picked up when she was in San Francisco not long ago.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, we were listening to some music that you suggested during lunch. And the song with the lyric San Francisco came on. And there's the third. That should round out the day of San Francisco.
The trio. The tribe. I love threes. Yeah. This is a real thing in my world.
What's that? The threes?
The threes, yeah. And I loved it. Yeah. And it wasn't like I had gone out with one of the partners and like learned. It was like they bought me a ticket and they're like, you're going to site.
Go figure it out, yeah.
And I was like, deep down, I was like, oh my God, like I don't even have a suitcase. Like I have a travel backpack. Every trip I still have done since South America has involved that backpack. And now all of a sudden I'm going to be staying at probably the most expensive hotel I've stayed at, paid for by the company. And I had to borrow a rolly suitcase from my senior because I was like, I don't really want to buy one. That's not how I roll. And so for like 3 months, I used her suitcase. And then she finally was like, can I have my suitcase back? And I was like, I guess I should. Yeah. Okay. I'll buy a suitcase now. I guess I'm doing this. So it was awesome. It was an awesome experience.
All grown up.
But yeah.
Got your own suitcase.
Yeah. It's like a real
traveling
adult.
To work. Look at this. It's a coming of age story.
Yeah. It's still unfolding, really. Here I am.
And so you get to have these pretty remarkable experiences in all facets of this. I mean, even throwing back to the staying in hostels while you were on your backpacking trip, you get a really wide array of knowledge of the way in which people can live.
Yeah. That
lead you down the path to understand how to engage in conversations, to pull out what people are looking for and how they want to live for themselves as you now start to engage in that for your practice.
Yeah.
So you leave 10 by 4.
2x4.
2x4. Oh my God.
10x4 is that nominal lumber I'm not familiar with?
I don't know why I just said that.
Double structure.
Like rubbing my eye right now. Like, well, how did I get to that?
If only they would read the drawings. So I was at 2x4 and then surprise.
2x4, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I took another year off to travel.
Yeah.
And
this time Europe? Asia?
Southeast Asia.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Came back
Hold
and
on. Okay.
I feel like we should be talking. Should I be talking about the studio?
We'll get there.
Okay, fine. I'm happy to
let's give Southeast Asia its fair share of 3 minutes. All right, go.
Okay, great. So went to go give my notice, and Dan and Keith were like, "Why don't you like take a leave and come back? Go do your trip and come back." And I was like, "Whoa!" Like, did not expect it. I was like full. I had my letter, had like, booked the practice, and I was like, "I'm going in." And so Southeast Asia was kind of an area I'd never had gotten out to. And it's so far away, and it just felt like there was so much to see. And like the only way to see it in my mind was like as slowly and long as possible. So you can basically do a 30-day visa in each country. So we just maxed out visas country to country. Started off in Vietnam, which is definitely where my love for pho has come from. It's probably, I was truly such a beautiful place. So much history. I had, we had heard the kind of pieces of like what the Vietnam War were and had been, and had a little bit of that like cultural zeitgeist, but like to actually be boots on the ground and like experience the other side, and to see vets from North America coming back for the first time. Like it was really emotional, really, really interesting. Food's great. The people are great. It's uber beautiful.
Yep.
And then, just hopped around. So went to Laos, Cambodia, Korea, Philippines, Indonesia.
Thailand?
No Thailand.
Thailand.
Skip Thailand.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You kind of make some tough decisions.
Yeah.
We went to Malaysia, so.
You saw a lot.
Yeah, we saw a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. What was the most abnormal thing that you ate?
The most abnormal thing I ate? I mean, Cambodia, there's a lot of A lot of bugs. There's a lot of like crispy bug things.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that checks the box.
What's that?
That checks the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They've got some funky cuisine there.
Yeah. What about the most unusual place that you slept?
The most unusual place we slept.
Did you ever have a situation where you were not sleeping like in a proper hostel or bed?
Not too much so.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Okay. So.
The most unusual place we slept, it was in a family's home at the top of a mountain after a jungle hike in Laos. And it was like almost like near death type hike. Like there was no trail. It's just a gentleman with a machete to like a very rural, small community at the tip of this mountain, and a house maybe the size of the pod here, sort of 10 by 15 maybe.
I like your dimensions on the size of this room.
Well, I'm thinking about
the other space.
Yeah, maybe this is 10 by 8, maybe. Yeah,
this is like maybe 9 by 9.
8? Okay,
maybe not even. It's probably closer to about like 8.5 by 8.5.
But maybe double this then.
Okay, fair.
Just for the listeners out there. And so they were getting paid to host us. And my one friend who we were with had ended up getting a what's it called? Not a slug, but the water sluggies that like drink your blood.
Oh, a leech.
A leech, sorry, yeah. And he didn't know about it.
How long? Like days?
While we were on the hike. And so this is what we think happened anyways. He had sat down and I guess the leech exploded. And then it was like a fallout of like, we were almost sort of like not welcome because we had brought this kind of like bad energy almost. It was like a very strange evening anyways.
Crazy.
It was a weird one. That was a weird one.
Have you ever had a leech?
Yeah, I had one as well on the hike, but I had found it. So I pulled it off and yeah.
I've had 2, and both times I remember like it was on for like hours.
Yeah.
I felt exhausted.
Yeah.
It's funny, like they're not even that big, and like you're not even losing that much blood, but for that, anyhow.
No, and they always tell you these sort of weird, like pour a box of salt in it. And you're like, I'm in the middle of the jungle. I have no box of salt.
Oh, you mean the box of salt that I carry with me on my utility belt?
Yeah, always prepared. That was probably the most extreme. But otherwise, it was pretty. It's a different time, different decade.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to get around. Lots of hospitality spaces in those areas.
Right. Okay, so you come back.
Come back. I worked at Mackay Wong for a year.
Okay.
Basically, like kind of my dream position. I was head of restaurants.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to be in full hospitality. That was where I had kind of always wanted to live. And I got sort of different slices of experience over the years. And then COVID happened. So I was working on Cineplex's new concept space, the Junction. Hotels, casinos, restaurants was the full portfolio. So it was pretty much a dead stop for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And sort of, it was a beautiful summer. I remember that.
2020?
Yeah, it was gorgeous. So hot.
It's because no one was doing anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I remember my first time seeing a plane in the sky afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, flight.
Flight, right. Whoa. And so a couple of friends approached me and started talking about like opening a practice, like a studio. And I think I was like, not really, I always kind of, people ask me all the time, like, are you going to do your own thing? Are you going to do your own thing? I think for me, I always loved working with others and working on great projects. Like, 2x4, I got to work on cruise ships, like river boats in Europe, and with, Mackay Wong, like being able to work with Cineplex, like this kind of great entertainment spaces. Yeah. I was like, like if I'm taking on like little projects on the side, it's like helping someone out with their bathroom renovation. I was like, I just couldn't quite put it together. But they were really excited about it, and I trusted them and was like, yeah, like, okay, like, let's do this.
So how many partners did you have when you started?
There was 3 of us in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the projects like?
We had no projects. We had no projects when we started.
Okay. So what did you do? Did you incorporate?
No, so we just did as a partnership.
Okay.
And we spent the first couple months actually like building out all of our systems.
Okay.
So we did all of our CAD standards. We got all of our kind of brand identity, started the Instagram, worked on the website, put a bunch of like templates in place. And we honestly thought that we would kind of open up and just start working on condos. Like that's where we were. That's like where our headspace was.
Yeah.
We knew nothing. We like just thought it was gonna click into place the moment we like launched a website. And so then we did that. And then we, and there was nothing. We still had nothing. We had a website. So we basically kind of put the word out with like all of our friends, all of our family. And my first two projects we brought in, the first one was my neighbor across the hall. Her and I have like talked about her unit for years. She has 2 kids in a 2-bedroom. And so it was time to make it a 3. And then the second project that came in around that time was actually my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's kitchen.
Ex-boyfriend from high school?
No.
Okay.
Adults. Mini adulthood.
I'm sorry. I had to ask.
I didn't work directly on that one. I had to take some distance.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, our friends and our family completely rallied and helped us out. So, it was like the littlest slices of work. And we were all just like excited to kind of see what we could do.
Yeah.
And I think in that sort of first 6 months, we sort of realized like as a trio, it wasn't quite working. So one of the first person bowed out because you're not making any money. You go from having a salary, you go from having security benefits. And then all of a sudden, we're bringing in a couple $1,000s between 3 people a month. And it's like a real you're really confronted with the realities of starting a business from scratch. At least we were. And
a lot of people are.
Yeah. It's not easy. And then I would say like our first kind of big break was the motel project. So we had seen on Instagram that this couple had bought a rundown motel in their hometown, Southampton, Ontario, and that they were going to DIY their kind of dream passion project through COVID.
I did not know you were involved in that.
Yeah.
I know this project.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what has become a bit of like an MO, we sent them a DM over Instagram saying like, hey, we just started, this interior design business. We saw that you bought this motel. Would you be interested in like having a conversation? And they wrote back and said, like, thank you so much for reaching out. We're really excited. We're going to DIY it. But like, if we change our minds, we'll come back. And so we wrote them back and I said, okay, great. But would you be interested in maybe just having like an hour, like a short call, like maybe just a chat, just to like kind of would love to just hear more about the project and kind of see what's going on. Because at that point, like we could take a no.
Of course.
Or
nothing
we could
to lose.
Yeah. So they were very gracious and they were like, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. And then I realized we have absolutely nothing to show them. We have no hotel work. I have giant condo projects like in San Francisco, which have no relationship to this project. I can't take a barburrito and tell them, spin it, how we're going to make this into a vision for their motel. And so I kind of let it go cold. I was like, maybe this it's not the right time. And then they actually circled back to us and said like, hey, like what's going on with this call? Like, let's get together. And then I was like, okay, like we gotta figure this out. So we did a complete like reverse, I call it like a reverse pitch. So instead of going in and showing them the work we don't have, I spent time researching the area, seeing what the basically like a SWOT, like what's their competitors, what's happening in the boutique motel landscape in Ontario in their area, what were like the amenities they were offering, what were their room types, what were they garnering in terms of like room costs, what was trending in hospitality, like what the potential was with their property. And so went in and had a conversation that was all about like, here's how we think, here's how we act, here's how we're going to show up, here's the potential, here's our vision. What do you think?
And they said, oh, I like this. This is different.
Yeah. And so it was really it actually has become very much part of how we approach clients, because we still are in that process of firsts.
Right. So if they had factored doing this themselves, it means that also their budget was not going to be amazing to be able to do design entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you navigate that as a new business? Without getting into the specifics, I don't want to go there.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of interesting. Like when you having worked with commercial clients, budget is not the first piece of conversation. It's really the vision, the idea, and what, we end up being really good at is, we've given you this kind of maybe, Rolls Royce design pitch, and a good design firm can also then deliver it more or less. It's not a blanketed rule, but can find a way to deliver great design within a budget that is digestible or that is feasible. And there's lots of levers there, like in terms of how that conversation can go. But we generally knew what they wanted to spend. The advantage was they were going to do the construction. So they were going to manage the construction project. So that helped with cost significantly. And then we took ownership of the full kind of like interior budget in terms of like finishes. So it was really the first time that I had done full takeoffs for a project to really give them costing. We had managed the full furniture. We designed all the furniture in the guest rooms, and then we had tendered it out, awarded and facilitated the full procurement to installation. So that was a first for us, first for me personally, and then first for the studio. So maybe there was a bit of like generosity with them and letting us have room to, explore and bring it to the table, but we never disappointed. I think at the end, we really were in line with where they wanted to be. We worked really hard. We went through, not to like make it seem light, but like there were multiple rounds of like revisions and alternates and working really, really hard to like get to where they wanted to be.
Right.
Yeah. But we got to do some really, really cool things, bring in some really interesting materials, turnkey a furniture package. Like during COVID, like we went through the full pains of like the shipping and it being stuck at port and that whole piece. So we're really living it.
And were you able to see the project through within the timeline that they had anticipated? Because it's also that's a huge challenge, especially in a hospitality situation, where the days they're not open or the days they're not making money.
Yeah, I guess both sides were a little green on this because they'd never taken on a project like this before. They weren't hospitality folks, so it was new to them. But I think we all had a really strong North Star. Like we were just all really excited about what this was going to be for them, for us, for the community.
Yeah.
It just, the timeline was extended. I think we ended up being 14 months.
Okay.
16 months, but it turned out like basically they had to rebuild the whole motel more or less, like all plumbing, all electrical, subfloors, restructuring. And then I think as the energy and the momentum of the project grew, then there was time and allowance to add on as well. Like we ended up putting in a commercial kitchen so that there could be a little restaurant.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And subsequently, after this, how did the studio fare? Now you had some product.
It's some product. Yeah. It's been really, it was really exciting. So I think the other part of the portfolio, we got into private residential. So that was super new. So been learning the ropes there. But basically the motel has been a great piece for us to be able to talk to how we move through design, how we think about design, how we, I think as a creative team, don't necessarily start from a vision board, but rather take that step back and really start to understand the lay of the land. Who's the existing community?
Yep.
How are we contributing to that? How are we welcoming and showing up for those that are coming from outside of the community? I think for me, like being able to create space that feels like it serves those nearest first can bring a lot of power and pride in a project.
Nearest first, yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's a hotel, the sort of interesting thing about the motel specifically was that there's a lot of lake homes all around it. And so, you could kind of create like a bit of like a party getaway weekend place.
Right.
and disrupt that whole neighborhood. And so how did we used design in a way that really was about being family first, about the sort of like longer kind of stays that were, for old, for young,
Yep.
and not be too targeted about, like very strategically didn't target, maybe just like the sort of kind of 20 something, 30 something weekend couple getaways.
Yeah. Okay. Are you still in a partnership?
No, I took over the company 2 years ago.
Okay.
Business is hard. Running a business is hard. And so it's been kind of like a full new chapter, going from like a partnership to solo. So it kind of almost feels like a new company.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
same name, new company.
You go from a position of having to have others and their opinions to yourself. Mm-hmm. And that can be both great and hard.
Yeah.
You don't always necessarily want to go to the sounding board of the people that are working for you, right? You want to find others that you can go and have as a sounding board and as a confidant.
Yeah, it's actually, I think the peace of mind comes out of having spent the past 5.5 years building, basically a village. So if I have a question or if I don't know something, I'll be on the phone, I'll be in your inbox asking for a little help, a little advice. Have you encountered this before? And of course, projects really are a village. It's not me, it's not my project. It's a bunch of us. We're all involved. I think what I had kind of envisioned if I was to start a business was that I wasn't keen on it being just myself. I like designing as a team. I like having people to input, bring their point of view, to share something that I hadn't considered. I think that's really what takes us to the best end result. So that was a bit tricky to reconcile. But then I sort of realized I'm not really alone as a solopreneur.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does the company look like in size now? How many people work at the practice?
Yeah, we're a small team, so we're 3 altogether.
Okay.
Which is
including you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have some part-time and some freelancers when we need them.
Yep.
Just like the ebb and flow of the year.
And what? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, which is actually sort of kind of very familiar to me. Whether I've worked in past small studios that are small teams or even in big studios, tend to be kind of a bunch of small teams.
Right. What I was going to ask you was, and what does project flow look like now? Before you were, kind of struggling, trying to figure out what are you going to have, and now have you found that there's a specific number that works really well? Is there a number that you're trying to achieve? Are there regions that you're looking to be able to break into?
Ooh, that's a tricky question, which I think I have the answer to every time I start a year. I'm like, oh, I've got this figured out now. Learned from last year. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do this year, right? But it's it's so different year to year. I think for me, what I try to do is be very present in my projects with my clients, and sort of kind of soak in that experience and be able to really build our practice around and understand how different clients work, how different projects work. So I'd say we typically bring in 2 to 3. We have 2 to 3 commercial clients a year, and it's all been very different. So we've had the motel, we've done Bear Market, which was a plastic-free grocery store. We had our first optometry clinic and frame gallery. We're doing our second one right now. We're working on a restaurant, a spin studio. So really, really diverse, which totally feeds my soul.
Yeah.
And then we have on average 2 new builds a year, kind of 2 major renovations, and then a handful of kind of smaller pieces. So
a lot to keep you busy there.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
You could have anywhere from 7 to 10 projects in a year.
Yeah, I'd say we close it's been on average about 12 projects a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the parties that are working within the company, are they draftspeople, or do you have someone that's involved in the back end of operations? What does that look like?
So I think part of taking on the full ownership of the company we had freelancers in the past and contractors, and the sort of reality of interior design is that there's just so much to know. Like you have to understand construction. You have to understand how to create instructions for construction. You have to understand how materials work, how, then as far, we were talking at the studio yesterday about like pressure balance versus thermostatic valves and like how those are placed and how those operate. Like you have to, know so much about so many areas. And so it felt like we were kind of I was kind of spending a lot of time mentoring and teaching folks who were coming and going. And I realized like I really want to have like a team. Like I want the time that I'm spending and I'm teaching, which I love. I want that to go into folks that are going to be here and that are excited about what I'm doing and what the studio is doing. So we went to full time, and it's been great. It's like I kind of had forgotten about it, honestly, like having a team like this, because when I had worked for others before, that was my role, was to help build those teams. So it's been really, really quite wonderful to have folks back in the studio. And so we've got 2 full-time designers. We've got part-time for bookkeeping. There's other roles I'd like to be able to have help out with, but that's in good time. So
fair.
And
you were telling me before that you're also having some luck with like that this work comes through. Some of it comes through Instagram, which is like it's amazing. The fact that like the marketing yourself through that portal can work.
Yeah. We even have like a restricted account, so we can't pay to advertise. I can't figure out how to undo it. So if there's any social media managers out there that can help me with this.
I could probably.
Oh, that'd be great. Would you talk to? Yeah,
no problem.
But yeah, our it's resonating with folks. So we get people through Instagram, through Google. We still have a really healthy referral. And what's nice is that we've got some really great relationships with contractors now. So that's a piece of the pie.
For sure.
I would say it's like, our projects are coming from 10 different sources. And we really nurture all those relationships, those channels, in a way that has continued to support the studios. So.
Is there a material that you haven't worked with yet that you've been filming at the bit to be able to spec in your IFC drawings?
Oh, a material?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. There's lots. I have like a little stash.
Okay. Maybe 1 or 2.
So there's this dichromic glass that like shifts in color that I'm like so obsessed with. But it's such a niche product. It's really hard to like find a home for it. So one day it'll happen. There is this kind of really amazing, like watery looking, reflective. I think it's like an acrylic. And I've seen it installed in a couple other projects, and it just looks so sharp, like so fly. So that's kind of living around, waiting for a home. Which is like a real thing. I think like designers always have like their little stash. There's a lot of stones that people are like, you get excited about the potential to use. So if you like open a drawer at a designer's desk, for sure you'll find like their little favorite stash of things that are just waiting for a project spec.
Awesome.
But I'd say one of our like favorite studio specs is cork. That's been part of our like material language from the beginning. It's like completely underrated, overlooked. There's this amazing company in Quebec that we work with, and it's like the most beautiful material installed on floors, but everyone's like a little afraid of it. So, yeah.
Amazing. Tell me what you like to do outside of practice. How do you allow yourself to unwind and forget about some of the responsibilities associated with making sure that staff are paid and that there's money in the account and the business can continue?
Oh yeah, the 4 a.m. scaries, as we like to call them. I spend a lot of time outdoors. I like yourself.
I should preface this to say, I actually already know this. This is where we've connected. So yeah, this is for everyone else listening now that don't know this.
Yeah. I used to lead and teach outdoor leadership and education. So that's where I really cut my chops in like outdoor backcountry camping. It is like a happy place. I love the fact that my phone doesn't work
It does now, sadly.
Temagami's really got some great pockets of no cell service.
Recently?
Yeah, we were.
Because I know.
Oh, it was 2 summers ago.
Cell phone providers, as of last year, started allowing you to get text messages through satellites. Yeah, or 911 call.
That's super. Yeah. Okay. Well, good.
Yeah. Wendy sent me messages to test, and I got it, and I was like, "It works. It's good to know it works." I'm like, but I don't want to have communication right now.
Yeah. There's something I don't know. I think this is what we have our common on. It's like there's just like a meditative quality to being out in a canoe and just swinging a paddle for a couple hours. Same with hiking. I've gotten like really into hiking. Like we'll go. During COVID, we started doing the full, we were putting together the full Bruce Trail. So just going out and like being amongst the trees, even though it feels like you have all this time to think, somehow you're just really focused on the physical movement.
In your steps, where you're stepping, how you're stepping, what's in front of you.
Yeah. You have to pay attention, otherwise you're tripping and falling.
Yeah.
So that's a big piece. And then a lot of my travel's been kind of around that. So we did this awesome couples RV caravan road trip in the fall. Yeah. Like I've traveled, outside of Canada for all these awesome trips and kind of overlooked how great our country is and how much there is here. So we scooted, for 2 weeks around BC and Alberta to all the national parks. Got to see Jasper post their big fire that happened last year, which was, wild to see a community rebounding after such a crazy, devastating fire. Yeah. So they'll probably find me in a Sprinter van somewhere.
It's awesome. For the people listening that don't currently know about Natasha and Comic Good Studio, a few things for you. One, you can head over to Instagram, take a look. You'll see that there will be a number of different projects featured on Instagram. I'll also have connectivity to her website in the liner notes. She, as you have heard, is an indelible character and has created such a successful studio in a short period of time. Her work is beautiful. And so if you're out there and you are looking at a project, and perhaps it's a motel or maybe a hotel, if you got a nice home, definitely reach out. She's approachable, and as you can tell from all the stories she's just bestowed upon all of us, very well rounded and grounded. So Natasha, thanks for trekking across the city.
Pleasure.
On the morning of a post snowstorm, light snowstorm, but snowstorm.
Sun's out. It's a good sign.
It's been a pleasure having you on and getting to know you. I look forward to continuing the relationship, and for those out there, reach out.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. This was great.